Joe Trahan, Clarence Hill, gentlemen, appreciate you being with us. I'm sorry you had to witness that in person. What did you think of the Cowboys' performance today against the Broncos?
Well, first of all, I just want to let everyone know that the lights turn out here at Empower Field at Mile High at exactly 10 o'clock. If you watch Sports Special, you know
10 o'clock Mountain Time.
Full blast, and
There we
they just
go.
turned out. So there's that little programming note. And it's actually kind of fitting, Clarence, with the way the Cowboys played today. I think the lights going out, that's perfect.
Yeah, the Cowboys' defense was awful, and it's been inept all season. And what we saw today, oh my God! I mean, they could not stop a nosebleed. Again, running, passing, wide open receivers, and shoddy. And the Cowboys want to say we had injuries. Well, you were bad when those injury guys were in there. This is what we've seen for much of the season, and this time the offense couldn't save them.
And that's the problem, right? It was going to happen. We knew this was going to happen at some point. Dak and that offense couldn't keep putting 40 on the board like they were being asked to do, and I thought it was unfair that they were being asked to play that way, but I didn't like the defensive effort. I just didn't, because I felt like up front that defensive line showed some things against the Commanders that we didn't see in this game, and Denver just ran all over them. And I know Denver's a much better running team than the Commanders are, but man, it just felt like there wasn't that pop and there wasn't that effort, and this team can't afford that, Clarence. If they don't come 100%, all guns blazing, every game, they're going to get run over.
Yeah, I agree, and you point to the effort, but the fundamentals. I mean, guys running. I mean, I don't know if it was just effort, because we've seen wide open receivers all season. We saw that in Chicago, and I will pump the brakes on the Commanders game, like, because we were good last week. Well, that Commanders team is not a good team. Okay, they were out there, three best receivers. They were playing offense with an arm tied behind their back, and so you were able to stop the Commanders. This was a whole different deal here, and they've been a different team on the road. I mean, you go back to Chicago, you go to Carolina, you certainly see what's happening here, what we saw tonight. They have major issues on defense, and I keep going back to, Micah Parsons, right? You can't get to the quarterback. You traded your best pass rusher for a nose tackle, a run stopper in a passing league, and you can't stop the run.
They cannot. They cannot. We thought they were going to stop the run. We thought that was part of the reason why Michael Parsons was expendable. We see now that is absolutely not the case, you guys.
Yeah, this has been one of the just to go back to the Washington of it all, Chill. You can't puff your chest because you stopped the UFL wide receiving core. I mean, that's what the reality of last week was. And in the moment, we all kind of went, hey, okay, maybe there's some growth, but we all knew the reality of who they were stopping in those moments. And now it's laid bare, and it only took 7 days later for everybody to notice that's all that was. That's all this ever was.
Well, and to me, the biggest problem here was this was an opportunity for a statement game.
Yeah.
You want to put some legitimacy behind Dak's MVP run. You want to put legitimacy behind you being in the playoff chase. The wins you've had have been against teams with losing records, okay? Washington, both New Yorks, okay? If you really want to show something that you can compete, that you can, stay in the hunt, so Jerry make a trade, do something in Denver. This was the opportunity. You haven't beat Denver since 1992. Do something in Denver, and they didn't do it. This was a chance to make a statement, and the Cowboys laid an egg.
Yeah, they haven't beat them in 30 years anywhere, and they haven't beat them here, and Clarence said, since 1992. And the interesting thing is they also lost the ability to put together a win streak, because this was the pivotal game. If they would have won this one, they have the Cardinals and then the Raiders up next, and they all of a sudden could have been on a 4-game win streak, and this season would have a completely different tenor now, other than what I think it is now. As Dak Prescott said, this team is up and down. They are inconsistent. It is unacceptable, and you never know what you're going to get from week to week. Let me amend that. You know that the defense is going to struggle.
Yeah, exactly.
Regardless.
Exactly.
Regardless. But that's about the only thing you can bank on, guys.
You know that whatever you saw last week is not what you're going to see this week. That's the consistency.
Well, and more importantly, when we were breaking down this season, we were talking about this stretch. This was the stretch that they needed to make hay on before they hit Thanksgiving, when they got the Eagles, Chiefs. We go down that chapter and verse. We've done that 1,000 times at this point. At this point, you're going to have to win at least 2 of these games to even keep in a playoff race at all. And you don't even want to think about playoffs right now. Just get above 500. Like, that's kind of where we are. Like, get through this bye-week stretch, come out of it on the other side with at least some head of steam before things get really tough, Joe.
Yeah, no, because they better win these next 2. Because after that, I mean, it gets serious. I mean, the Vikings might not be as good as they thought they were, but, you know, the Chiefs have caught their stride, and they're going to have to play them, and they're going to have to play the Eagles again. And, I mean, it's going to get really tough in this stretch that's upcoming. And if they don't win the next 2, Clarence, I don't. They might not even get close to 500 this season.
Well, you know, Kyler Murray has never lost at AT&T
I
Stadium.
know this. I know this. I do know this.
They've never lost at AT&T.
Law of averages. They really need the law of averages
That
to
was going to
catch
happen
up.
this week. We thought the law of averages was going to catch up with them in Denver, you know, but it didn't happen. And Kyler Murray's never lost at AT&T Stadium. Yeah, you brought up a good point. You know, the Cowboys were trying to get off that win one, lose one thing that they were on and try to develop some consistency. That's what I was trying to say. This was the opportunity to really make a statement because you have the Cardinals or you have the Raiders coming up next, and conceivably they could have been 6-3-1 before they hit that stretch. You know, now everything is up for grabs. Again, when you can't stop anybody, there's no guarantees against the Cardinals. And there's certainly no guarantees on the road. Again, we see how they play on the road against the Raiders.
It's amazing. It's amazing how this thing could flip, man. It's what the NFL is. It's part of why we love it, with the way it's set up. But this team is on this awful merry-go-round of up and down, and it's just got the entire fan base's collective head spinning.
And one thing, Romo talked on the show, if they're going to win, they have to win with offense, right?
Yes.
You know, because we know the offense can beat anybody, can score against anybody. But the problems on defense are bleeding into offense. Well, I've been asking Dak after game, is it too much pressure? You feel too much, going back to Carolina, do you feel too much pressure? You have to score every time to keep up with the defense. And he said, no. But today,
yes,
that's exactly what happened.
We saw
At the end of the first half, you have a field goal in your back pocket, okay? And he threw a deep ball, a seam ball of Ferg that got intercepted by Jahdae Barron. Longhorn. You got to know Jahdae Barron going to make that play, right?
Sneak that in there. Sneak that in there. Go ahead.
Don't do that.
Longhorn.
But seriously, you had a chance to just get a field goal, get some momentum. You get the ball to come out the second half. And they scored on the opening drive of the second half. It had been a different game, but he felt the pressure because they don't believe in the defense that he had to get points. He pressed and got burned.
He admitted it. He pressed you guys, and you knew it was going to happen eventually, and it did.
We got to hit a break real quick, but we'll come back and trash this performance a little bit more after this.
Let's get back to the Cowboys and the real debacle here going on. You guys brought up the whole defensive issue starting to permeate the offense, and I kind of want to highlight the situational issues where I feel like this team has really succeeded in the first 7 weeks or so. When they've had a chance to get back in the game, they've made it. They've made a play. Something's happened. To me, the false start on the opening drive when they could have had 7 instead of 3 changed the whole complexion of things. Also, it just felt like there were a couple moments where they just needed that one spark play. They were down 14-10. Defense couldn't get off the field. Then they couldn't keep pace in their pressing. I know we've seen offenses fall apart in the altitude, but I'm curious, was there something else that you guys noticed with the offense about why they didn't click the way that they have in the first 7 weeks this season?
Well, I will say this. We'll talk a little bit about the environment, right? Because we were talking about this before the show. There's a kind of a collegiate feel to the environment here. It's a lot louder than I remember it being. I don't know about the altitude, but I will say this. It felt as though that offensive line was struggling just to get ready to play. There was miscommunication. They were jumping. They were fidgety. They were flinchy. And they just struggled, right? I mean, Dak was under duress a lot in that first half, and that's why they weren't able to really consistently keep drives going, especially early in the game.
Well, let's be real. The Broncos' defense is really good. They're the number one
They're
defense.
good.
They're number one defense in the league against the pass, okay? Pass rushers, cover guys in the secondary. Jake Ferguson was a hell without a catch on National Tight Ends Day because of how they play their defense, okay?
Yeah.
So it's one thing, you bottle up CD and Pickens, but usually Ferguson's able to eat inside. He had no catches. There was no room for Ferguson because of how they play the defense. You have to give them credit. Dak did not have time to get the ball downfield
That was my point.
Yeah, to the receivers because he rushed 6 times, because of the way the bootlegs weren't working. That's why you saw Dak taking off a few times. But let's give credit where credit's due. It's that Broncos defense, it's that pass rush. Guyton got killed early. Nick Bonito, local kid, killed Tyler Guyton.
Terrence Steele.
Yeah, Terrence Steele. The edges,
Whipped.
they did not hold up. And I would also say, I wanted the offense to be a little more greedy. When Surtain is off the field,
Yes.
go after the guy.
Go right at the guy who comes in for Surtain.
Yes.
And I know you feel like I don't have to pick any one guy because I got CD, but on that opening drive of the goal line, when they had to settle for the field goal, Surtain was off the field. And yes, they went to CD, but the matchup on the other side,
Yeah.
it was the third.
It was Pickens against their third or fourth corner.
Right.
Make the play, make it happen. And again, that's a Shoddy and Dak thing, right? They've got to recognize, they got to realize. And listen, it's not fair because we are asking them to be perfect. We know it's not fair, but that's just what you have to be.
I thought one of the most important sequences in the game, too, especially for the defense, was the offside penalty on James Houston. There was an opportunity for this defense to have some actual bona fide momentum coming out of their performance against Washington, which we've already discussed why they were able to do what they were able to do against the Commanders. But you come out and pick off Bo Nix on the first possession of the football game and then put together a legitimate 3-and-out on the second possession of the game, if not for the fact that James Houston was lined up in the neutral zone. 3rd and 2, they pop a big play. 2 plays later, they're in the end zone, and it's 7-3 Denver. If there's not an offside penalty there on James Houston, the Cowboys start the game with a pick and a 3-and-out defensively, and all of a sudden on the sideline there would have to have been a swell of, hey, look at us, we're turning the corner defensively. And that went poof because of that penalty. And then obviously the rest of the game, they showed that they did not actually have any real reason for momentum, but how different the vibes could have been if not for that penalty.
100%. And the discipline of the team just in general. Penalties have started to amass over the last couple of weeks, Joe, but it really stuck out today.
Yeah, no, I agree. I would say this about that penalty, and yeah, it changed the momentum early. But I'll say this, the way Sean Payton dialed up plays against this defense today, if it would have happened and they would have got him off the field, it may have ended up being a shootout. We may have had a little bit better game for longer, but this defense could not stand what Sean Payton was throwing at them. No way, no how. That just would have prolonged the misery a little bit, Mike, and I think it still would have happened that way.
Yeah, probably.